There you go.
How are you holding up?
He's actually our
The
tattoo
symptoms
guy.
are
I
subtle
forgot the name. I think
first.
he's called Dawson.
Feel agitated? Unusually aggressive?
Wait, is
They
he
say it
painting
can
more of
drive
the
you
tattoo
mad,
on us?
Yes,
I'm not so
it was
sure.
incomplete.
You
Remember,
ever see
our
anyone
protagonist
live long
gets
enough to
it
find
progressively
out?
more detailed, but there's
I had to
something that's
beg
weird.
Azai for more ink.
The ink is
It
not
isn't
super
even
fresh.
It's clumping. You feel that?
Ow.
Sorry. This is unacceptable. If Azai can't straighten this out, well, I'll go to the source and take care of it myself.
We've tracked the Count to a stronghold in Eastern Europe.
Ah
He may be
yes,
cornered, but be
a
careful.
generic
He's
castle
sitting on a
in
stockpile of
generic
weapons with his
location
best
in
troops
Eastern
surrounding
Europe.
him.
My favorite place.
It's Eastern Europe land, like in Metal Gear Solid 4.
Oh, come on now. Come on now. I hear Rome's more of a stronghold.
There you go. Stealth kill all the guards in the catacombs, sneak into the castle without being detected, and lure a guard into a stealth kill using a dead body.
As usual, I take it you'll be going for all of those?
Yes, again, you'll be able to see that they managed to get all of the set objectives in all of the missions. Now, the game is introduced with this one is that because we're in Eastern Europe and it's such a lovely place, it's fun. It's having there's a thunderstorm constantly going on, meaning that if you stand in the open, the flashes of light will actually illuminate the area temporarily, meaning that you can get spotted if you're not hiding. So
thunderstorms, perfect for any evil villain lair.
Could give the guards a chance to spot you.
So does this mean Victor will be taking direct control of the army now that Kelly is dead?
Well, you know, Karajan was already taking command. Kelly was just more of a, lieutenant enforcer or anything.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, well, will he be taking a more direct control,
Well,
seeing as how Kelly was more or less the one, obviously, Karajan was the one in charge, but you know what I mean. Like, Kelly's like his main general, or, the guy in charge of the armed forces.
Technically speaking, but keep in mind, Joe, it's a case where we've cornered this guy and killed most of his troops, so he's getting on the defensive more than anything. So...
And yet, he still doesn't seem phased, at least from what we last saw.
Oh, don't worry, he will crack eventually.
So interesting, this tattoo is so serious that they can't even apply the whole thing at once. It has to be done in layers.
Remember, it's because of a whole, monstrous hallucinogenic effect. Speaking of which, since we got a new layer, we got a new power.
Your new mark has heightened your senses. Concentrate, and you can sense everything around you, even through the walls.
It's the far sight. What I need to do is actually to hold Q like the prompt is actually telling me. There you go. And it does, like I said, something similar to the Batman Arkham, detective mode. It highlights, something like potential obstacle barriers, or in this case, the circuits to which each lever, is attached to, which tells me which is the one that I need to actually pull.
Be careful. Pulling the wrong lever could cost you your life.
There we go. Go on.
What else is new? But, yeah, no, I wonder, could they potentially do a loophole where they only give him part of the tattoo and never complete it, and thus
No, it doesn't. That's not how it works.
Oh, so let me guess, if they stop giving him part of the tattoo, that just, makes him die.
Not just that, the victim, the person with the tattoo, progressively gets insane more and more. So, it's a process where when it starts, it cannot be stopped. So, but the actual completion of the tattoo is still gradual, like an actual, IRL tattoo. It's not something that complex is not done in just one sitting.
That is true. I was wondering, though, if maybe the powers might be tied to the process of, completing the tattoo, essentially. Like, oh, the more the tattoo gets completed, the more powers he gets as well.
Well, yes, but it, is there you go. Like you said, Drova, it's not something that you can cheat out by having just one and, get away with it.
Alas. Although, like our tattoo artist said, there seems to be something unorthodox about how our lad here is taking on the tattoo.
Not just that, there's the fact that, like he mentioned, for some reason the ink is not particularly French, so he will investigate. Don't worry about that. For the time being, we need to focus on the mission. Oops.
Plot twist. He's actually his future self from, well, the future, essentially.
No, I can tell you that time travel is not involved.
I don't think I've heard of a story called Time Traveling Ninjas.
Well, the starting with the 4th season, the 2003 TMNT series started having time travel. They even added a subtitle to the title called Fast Forward.
Also, I'm pretty sure there was a Power Ranger series tied to that.
Yeah, Time Force. Although here's the thing, it's important to remember too that not only the Ninja Storm Power Rangers are considered ninjas.
That is true. When it comes to the
Time Force were
Sentai
actually
genre,
cops.
it's different, yeah.
Yeah. Time Force were actually cops.
Unless, of course, although there was also that period of the Mighty Morphins where they went to get new powers, and even the first movie also did its own version of that storyline, the Ninjetti, as they called it, and of course that particular storyline eventually got basically ignored eventually. But yeah.
What a shame.
But yeah, basically, Jova, TMNT 2003, the Fast Forward seasons.
Yeah, that applies. And, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
To an extent, also, I guess the third live-action movie counts.
Oh, yes, it does.
True.
Even though I'm sure that's a movie a lot of people would like to forget.
I dedicate at least 1 hour per day pretending that movie doesn't exist.
And yet, still, it remains in your mind, I'm sorry to say.
Still around here somewhere.
I get it that the TMNT movies were flawed every now and then, but I legit have to wonder what they were thinking with that third movie. And I didn't even talk about the time travel.
The first movie still holds up, actually. The second movie is one of those things where, yes, if you look at it as a sequel to the previous movie, yeah, it does definitely. It is a definite downgrade. So it's much more silly and comedic. However, I will argue that if you're someone like me who enjoys the '80s cartoon and just watch it as an adaptation of that, it works on that level.
And hey, the second movie did give us Super Shredder.
Mm-hmm. True. The Super Shredder concept came from that movie, so that movie did have an impact in the franchise as a whole. So,
I don't even dislike that movie either. I actually do like it as definitely a noticeable mark on the franchise. It's just that when you compare it to the first one, well, that's the problem starts.
The third one is literally where they just gave up trying because they knew that whatever added the turtles on it would sell regardless of quality.
Only didn't the third movie end up bombing?
It did.
Yeah.
There you go. Also, if you noticed, I have a new type of kill where I can do it from one of the foreground objects. So basically now I'm at a point where I can exploit almost every type of the environment to my advantage.
Lovely. Sooner or later you'll be able to hide in their soup and get them.
It's like, we haven't seen it yet, Pedro, but there's a meme from a later episode from Potuto no Ken, where Ken waits to hide inside a bowl of hay, and the guy just looks around until Ken's face pops up.
Let me guess. Nani?
Well, it's more of a surprise, similar to the one in Speed Racer. Oh.
Ah. Sure, that works too.
But yeah, no, it's a sadly typical downgrade I see where a franchise gets so big that a company thinks, wow, whatever we put out can't fail whatsoever.
Oh my god, even you too? Seriously?
Really, dudes? Really?
I said no sleeping on the job.
He literally falls asleep standing upright. Come on.
If there's a door like that, you can hide the boy inside there. You'll be surprised also, Dwaves, if you are in a situation where, you haven't slept in a while, you'll be able to, to sleep even on a rock, depending on the circumstances. Fortunately, I do need the body to deactivate the laser, so there you go. I forgot, since when the TMNT have been a Nickelodeon property? I forgot.
What is? Sorry.
The TMNT. As in
Yeah, it has been
the brand in
since.
general.
Yeah, it has been since 2009.
Okay.
Christ, we live in a universe now where Nickelodeon owns TMNT and now Garfield.
I know, right?
So when's the crossover?
Well,
Probably by the end of the decade, maybe.
we're
Oh, well,
already...
granted, they have shown up both in
Yeah.
All Stars Battle.
And even the racing games, the more recent racing games. I do wonder if... Okay, is IDW still having the comic license for the TMNT? I forgot. I need to ask Edgy. He knows more about that kind of stuff. There you go. Now we have basically deactivated that grid of lasers which would have prevent us to pass. So it's not sequence breaking. It's just that I knew already what to do. And yeah, if you touch those electric cables, you can imagine you getting slapped, insta-killed, so don't do that. Not even sure why they're there in particular. You cannot even deactivate them. Alright, now I want to try to see if I can, spring the objective of terrorizing someone with a second body, but no, I can't. So for the time being, I'm just, eliminating these two. Oh, by the way, the traps, the spike traps do work on animals, and those actually kill them properly. So yeah, it's not as elegant. Go. Yeah, this is one of those things that you may notice only if you actually properly check on a map, or from the side and notice the discrepancy, but you can go actually through this side of the top of a building, which is a completely optional area.
Who's that? Don't see anything.
Look a little closer and you'll see your destiny.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And here it is.
Death.
Well, at the very least, it did not feel that much.
Imagine being some of the guards to be able to boast that you outlived your highest ranking officer, Kelly, only to die way quicker than he did when the ninja actually comes for you.
Oh well.
After the war, most ninja went home, but not Master Tetsuji. On a journey along the Silk Road, he met a merchant who promised to restore his youth and glory.
Hara's veterans. Spin tails.
I was partly expecting those suits of armor to come alive as robots that attack you.
Surprisingly, no. Yeah, you think that it will do something like that, but no.
It seems like we're dealing with that kind of Saturday morning cartoon villain.
Yeah, if there's one thing that this game, is noticeable, is that the enemy variety is not as prominent, as one would hope. It's not, really super low, but it's not even, you think we do expect, a couple of more, a bit here and there, but the one that we are here are technically fine and well paced for the presentation.
I suspect that comes...
and yeah, the fact that this is a smaller game without indie budget, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I do feel like most of the faults of this game are shortcomings due to it being, an indie game, which, I will say this, though. Yeah, at some point, almost every indie game comes across that point, but I'll give them credit. This is a case where I'm okay with it because what they do work with, they work with well.
It also depends obviously on what kind of engine and aesthetic you tend to use. Something like Cave Story from Mr. Pixel managed to still have quite enough of the content because it was a throwback to 8/16-bit era platformers.
Unlike a certain indie game I could mention, it seems like they knew their limitations, at least.
Yeah, you gotta need more specific, Joe, because I can think at least a couple of them.
Alright. For
Mighty
the
number
sake of it,
9.
yeah, Mighty Number 9 is like the key example most people turn to. Well, did anyway, I'll admit. These days, I don't even see retrospectives for that game. It's almost like we're to the point of people almost forgetting it existed.
The closest I heard, I've seen a couple of videos that said, they are typical of this product X years later, and it's not technically a retrospective, but more of a small analysis to see if something has changed, but there aren't that much, admittedly.
It's so surreal for me because I was there, man. I may not have participated in that Kickstarter, but I remember when Mighty Number 9 was like...
Did this song call me Johnny, did?
Yes, he did do a review on it when it finally released.
Did he actually participate in Kickstarter? I forgot, that's what I was asking.
I believe he did, yeah.
And,
I forget if he was...
Was he one of the people who decided to have his name scrubbed?
Well, more so, I think he may have been one of the people who, like, had his name in there, but may have had trouble finding it, or... I remember there were some reports of some people who did want their names in, but didn't show up. Just one of the many things that got mismanaged with that game. It's like, it's insane. That game went from being like the talk of town, and I mean so big that that thing was being talked about alongside the actual big games of the industry.
Don't worry also, Jova. I still conserved a GIF that was used at the time, which is a stop motion of 2 action figures, one of classic Mega Man and one of X, dancing in exultation of the Kickstarter reaching its goal. The irony.
I remember the long threads on NeoGAF, or hell, even whatever site replaced it, essentially, people lamenting the hundreds, if not thousands, they put in. Shoot, if I recall correctly, the whole Dinner with Funefune thing went sideways on that thing.
And of course, those fabled 3DS and PS Vita versions who never came.
But hey, audience, you don't have to take my word for it, or rather you can if you check out our playthrough, because yes, we even did a playthrough of that game, handled by me when, again, the game finally came out, because holy cow, the delays.
That will be our best shot at getting to the inner keep.
Alright, now I need to find a route, just to get closer to Karajan.
So it looks like they really went for a mix of, plenty of different architecture types from Eastern Europe, so you can pretty much just go, yep, it's Eastern Europe, but not pinpoint any one specific country.
Yeah, it's like Pedro said, it's like we're in MGS4. Like, what part of Eastern Europe? Just Eastern Europe.
It's interesting, because one reason America's good for a setting is, like, as a country, we have pretty much just about any climate you could potentially want. Like, you want mountains? Go for the Midwest. You want, like, cold? Try Alaska. You want the heat? Go down south.
That's the thing,
and
Jovan.
so on and so forth.
It's pretty clear it's present in pretty much every part of the world, not just one place in particular. It's just that sometimes, there are some stereotypes associated to, what a country is perceived to be. And when it comes to Eastern Europe, it's always about, gloomy weather, dilapidated woods, and poverty because of all the decades of Soviet regime, batoning down onto the poor people of the countries.
I mainly mention America because, like, well, yes, there are, climates that you can find in America, you can arguably find in other parts of the world, but it's just that America as a country as a whole has, like, a whole smorgasbord of climates that you can pretty much have just about any climate, sunny, cold, dark, weather, or whatever, and just say, yep, it's somewhere in America.
I mean, you have that entire microcosm existing in just New Zealand, and that is infinitely smaller, so it's not that impressive.
That is true. A lot of people do also use New Zealand for filming stuff. partially because it's way good in the cost efficiency, but yes, they also have a good variety of climates.
I can imagine these days it's not as cheap to film there as it was in the 90s and early 2000s.
Does Power Rangers still use New Zealand?
No. The most recent series is the last time they're going to be filming there, because whenever that reboot comes out, they're going to be filming somewhere else. Where? No idea.
God forbid they do Canada next.
Yeah, there is still cheap enough to actually do it.
Well, actually, no. I mean, it's a reboot, and so yeah, there won't be any references to the series.
Wait. You mean as in like they're rebooting the continuity as a whole?
Yeah.
Huh.
Considering the kind
Well,
of...
I mean, 30 years, and all the retconning. I can imagine that they didn't want to deal with the headache anymore.
Not to mention a lot of the actors either, going insane or having passed away. Yeah, I think it's high time for a fresh, clean slate.
I guess. I mean, I guess to me, Power Rangers always seem like that thing that it's easy to just do a new season. But I guess, to be fair, the fact that every single show takes place in the same universe was starting to make things go a little...
Okay, I kind of need, a checking refreshment. Wasn't the entire point at the end of Turbo that the Earth was, compromised, and the series in Space and Lost Galaxy were because the people had to abandon Earth or something?
Not so much that they abandoned Earth, it was more so that civilization was to a point where space travel was becoming more common, essentially.
Yeah, and Lost Galaxy's thing was, hey, we got this new space station very far into space. You can come live here if you want, but by the way, if you do, we're not coming back to Earth because it's a bit far.
Okay.
Never forget, I think Lost Galaxy was the first time they legit killed a Power Ranger.
They brought her back to life, though.
I do wonder about the timing, because it wouldn't be surprise me if they did it to be in competition with the premise of Star Trek Voyager.
What? Yeah, I remember, Jiva, the reason why they did that is because the actress came down with leukemia, but she recovered from it.
So ironically, they were sort of setting her up to die valiantly because, well, the actress thought she might die. It sounds like that was one of the more agreed-on things, which, given some unfortunate history of Power Rangers, that's a relief.
Here's the catacombs, and yes, where the green smoke is basically poison gas. We'll be tutorializing to, if you actually get inside of one of those areas, get out of there very fast if you can, because your air meter kinda sucks.
It'd be interesting if there's actually a kill that just lets you push the guards into the place with poisonous gas.
Something of the sort, but I will have to talk about it when it becomes relevant.
Okay.
For the time, also there's a skeleton sitting there.
Oh, how lovely.
Also, if you notice the fact that there's a red, reticule on some of the places, that's because those are very fragile, these big catacombs and everything. So the new gimmick is that if I actually jump on top of them, they will disintegrate in a few seconds, meaning that I need to watch out if I want to, strategize with my maneuvers.
Mm-hmm.
Go. And now from this phase I can get to another challenge.
Oh god, it's so hazy green. We're in the intro to Breaking Bad.
Oh, they will try to be more yellow. This is more about timing. You have to drop purposefully from a ledge, and while in midair, use your time-stopping maneuver to actually short the fuse box, and grappling onto another ledge. It's actually one of the hardest, technically.
Yeah, more characters should have laser beam security in their in their homes.
Let me guess, you prefer the lethal lasers as opposed to just the harmless lasers.
It depends on the context and the character. Like, not everyone wants death laser beams.
Scrooge McDuck tried a couple of times, Waves. It did not work. I can tell you, at least in the comics.
And also, and any attempt to tamper with them will result in it automatically going off as though you touched it.
What if it's
if somebody needs to take care of it for maintenance?
I'll have a key.
Yes, Pedro.
What if it's ancient Egyptian laser beams?
Well, then we can praise the ancient Egyptians for being so forward-thinking.
You know, Pedro jokes, but Samurai Jack did technically have to deal with that at some point.
Actually, Joe, I'm not joking. There's literally a moment in the Duelist Kingdom season where Bakura and Pegasus literally have a match of ancient Egyptian lizard beams so that Bakura can take his Millennium Eye. Do you think they will? My guess is they didn't have time to go through yet another card game between those two. So let's pull this ancient Egyptian laser beam dual bullshit out of nowhere, and there you go. That works.
At least it seems one of the last remnants of the original premise of the first issues of the manga. The idea that Yugi Yami was, specialized in all sorts of games, not just duel monsters.
You know, given that Pegasus turned out to be a more stand-up guy after he got that eye taken from him, I wonder if the Millennium Eye was kind of influencing him to be more of a jerk.
Yes, Jova, that's the entire point. That's the reason why Bakura is has this split personality thing, because of a Millennium Necklace.
Well, the ironic thing is that Pegasus wasn't given a split personality. He was just...
But the essential part is that, while not all of them do, most of the Millennium items corrupt the people who possess them, who actually don't know about, their power.
I mean, later on, we do find out that the Millennium Rings are just parts of Zork Necrophides' soul, basically, as in the Lord of Darkness. So
again, even the necro.
If we get that
even I forgot the name. The Crypt
Zork
Keepers.
Necrophidius.
No.
Okay.
Talk about the Crypt Keepers, like
the rare hunters.
Yeah, even those were not completely new. For example, Ishizu was technically fine, but of course Marek was corrupted on his own.
You know, I always found it a missed opportunity that Kaiba never got the piece that his counterpart from the past
The Millennium
had.
Rod.
I guess that, but don't you see, Joe? He's way too skeptical for that.
Yeah, that's basically the entire point of Kaiba's, arc in everything. The idea that, he's relying on just his wits, and his intellect, his technology, which is still odd because, in the Waking the Dragon arc, he did got one of the 3 dragons.
Never mind the fact he also got Obelisk the Tormentor too during the Battle City arc. Well, okay, Kaiba is that kind of guy who thankfully doesn't have arbitrary skepticism. Like, he clearly knows this stuff is real. It's just that he chooses to go things the Batman route by combating it with science.
And then there's the Dark Side of Dimensions movie, where he gets so pissy about wanting his rematch against Yami that he literally invents a device that allows him to, complete with a suit, to go through the afterlife, and we never know what happened.
Like, what would he have done if Yugi just went, oh, I completely forgot who you were and didn't even want to duel him?
And we know that he technically survived because he still said before GX, so even before he founded his school. So...
Kaiba! Okay, even though it's a joke from the Abridged series, Kaiba really did need to get laid. And no, not with the card, even though the Blue Eyes White Dragon is kind of the reincarnation of his lover from the past.
Not just that, Drova. Some of the later support for Blue Eyes, seem to have taken that concept to an extreme by having, technically more sexualized designs of the Blue Eyes, believe it or not. I think the card in question that I think of is called like Deep of Blue Eyes, and I think it was one of the ones that they used for the Dark Side of Dimensions movie.
Like, for Yugi, I mean, hey, the Dark Magician is just his friend, and Blackluster Soldier is kind of the personification of the Pharaoh's spirit. With Kaiba, nah, your card is your lover, dude. I mean, granted, that may not still be as messed up as whatever the hell was Yubel's deal with Jaden.
Alright, what I did essentially was, technically speaking, I could have just gone without freeing those guards, but one of the side objectives is to kill all of them in the catacombs, so I need to find a way to actually deal with them. And it specifically stated I need to do it stealthily, so I cannot just lay my traps.
I'll give the villain credit, he's making sure to cover all entrances if he's covering even the poisonous gas catacombs. Though, to be fair, these ninjas have shown that you cannot be too careful.
Because essentially if I wanted to finish the level I have to go down this path, like here in the center, but, you know, still have a few guards to deal with.
Wow, he followed you all the way there.
The guards will not, you know, climb surfaces, you know, if they have to, but if there's a way to actually move from, you know, from under it with stairs and everything, they will pursue you.
I'm surprised he was calm, given that, you know, you killed his mate right in front of him.
They only get disturbed, you know, it's just kind of a chance thing for them to, you know, be distraught by the sight of a body, so...
No, it's more so they get caught off guard if you've already killed them, and then they notice.
And also for the cherry on top, because I did not realize that, I could have easily just turned off the laser here, so I kind of wasted a smoke bomb, alas.
Well, at least it was a nice explosion.
And it's almost at the end of the level anyway, so let's open the grate.
Five seconds was crucial.
Thankfully, with the timing is not really a thing when you get graded, so... Whee!
Oh fuck, we're trapped in the dungeon.
Looks like there's nowhere to go but down.
Well, after you.
Thankfully, it's big enough for the both of them.
Oh, how considerate of them.
Well, yeah, you have to plan for every eventuality.
Alright then, tune in for the next part, where, you know, we dwell more deep into the catacombs to find a way inside the castle. See ya.
See ya.
Hey.